A UK-based company bidding to redevelop the city centre prepared to bankroll millions to revive Nassau's nightlife. Our BJ McDermott has the story on what's on the table.
Downtown Nassau has its challenges that must be addressed if the area is to boost its appeal to the millions of visitors opting to spend time in the Bahamas each year. Key to that is redeveloping the Prince George Wharf. One of three jockeying for the chance to do this is Global Ports Holdings. In a meetup with new Chamber of Commerce CEO Jeffrey Beckles, Colin Murphy, head of Global Ports Business Development in the Americas, revealed that if successful, the UK company will invest $250 million into the project. And this will include key elements of redevelopment, including opening up the port to hotel guests and locals.
The first thing is we felt that Nassau really needed an iconic building. You need something that really screamed Nassau, that will be on postcards, and that people around the world, when they see that, they will know this is the port of Nassau. And we've designed some really cool elements to this program, which we'll be sharing as we go through the process, that we think really will put Nassau on the map. And we'll be fixing some of the logistical things about moving people around inside the port. It's a very long walk, it's hot, it's uncomfortable. All those logistic things are very easy for us to do. We'll also be adding some food and beverage outlets that will give, again, which will be awesome, I think, that will give people a reason to come to downtown again, as opposed to staying in the hotel. They're really spectacular.
According to Murphy, the local retailer won't be going anywhere as they will be provided proper facilities to operate in. There will also be training to educate them on how to advertise effectively to cruise passengers. The plan calls for Global to own 49% of the partnership, while an entity called the Bahamas Investment Fund own another 49% of the fund.
This was created in response to conversations we've had that informed us that people want to have a little bit of ownership in this thing. They want to feel part of this opportunity. And so we're designing a fund that will own 49% of the shares in the port. And we're super keen to make sure that this is, that local people can buy into this fund. So minimum subscription is $1,000, which we know is still high for a lot of people. So we're going to provide interest-free loans of up to $10 million for local people to get a stake in the port. And then the loans will hopefully be paid back by the dividends that the port generates. And so at the end of the day, it's almost like a free way for people to get some ownership in this thing.
The final 2% will go to the YES Foundation.
YES, so it stands for Youth, Education and Sports. So this is the foundation. The dividends from this, from the port will go, 2% of the dividends will go into this foundation. And that will be used to support causes that are good for youth, education and sports. And actually we've said that we will kick that off with a $3 million grant in the beginning so that we can start to get moving on some of those things to try and support the Bahamas.
Mr. Murphy says his company is looking to partner with Bahamians. The goal is not to give away national assets, but to manage it.
We recognise the fact that the Port of Nassau has not really been managed as effectively as it could have been done. I mean, the experience is not optimal, let's say. Let's be nice. The guest experience is not optimal. But it's one of the biggest, well, maybe first or second largest cruise port in the world in terms of passenger throughput, with around, I guess it's around 3.5 million passengers now, which is a lot. But we think it could be so much better.
Global Ports Holding is the world's largest independent cruise port operator with some 17 cruise ports in 9 countries. Reporting for JCN News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, during that press conference, Mr. Murphy also confirmed that 99% of construction workers on the project will be Bahamians. Mr. Murphy says the entire project would be completed by August 2021. Standards & Poor Global Rating acknowledging the tremendous progress made to halt the recent rise in the deficit and slow the pace of debt increase. In its most recent assessment, S&P credited the Bahamas with maintaining its BB+ a stable B rating. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquist says the rating company's report reiterates what's been said for some time, and that's that, quote, "We must stay the course, for if we waver now, we could undo the progress and diminish the medium to long-term viability of the country. Mr. Turnquest added that now that the fiscal and economic situation is stabilized, the task remains to maintain fiscal discipline and speed up the pace of economic growth that must be broad and inclusive. The S&P report acknowledged several of the government's initiatives, particularly the passage of fiscal responsibility legislation, which introduces deficit and debt target ratios. Mr. Turnquest further pointed out that his administration takes seriously its core responsibility to be fit and accountable stewards of the fiscal affairs and the long-term economic well-being of the nation. The new year will see a group of Bahamians hit the streets in protest against the Bahamas' accession to the World Trade Organization. Bahamians Against WTO is a diverse group focused on halting the government's objectives of submitting the country to what they say will be a surrendering of birthrights and Bahamian sovereignty. Lead spokesperson Maria Daxon.
We are here to secure the Bahamas for the future generations of Bahamians, our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. We are going to say no to WTO. We contend that this government, nor no other government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, have the authority to surrender our natural resources or any benefit of our Bahamians to foreign bodies. The power to govern our affairs without a mandate from the people is unacceptable.
Now, the group, which also comprises Kendall Colebrook, Omar Smith, and attorney Paul Moss, is calling on the government to put the issue to a referendum.
If the WTO was so good, if it is so good, how is it this is not in their manifesto? How is it they didn't talk about this on their campaign trail?
They are out everywhere talking about the positives of this particular organization and us joining. What are the negatives? Why are they promoting this? Did they run on this campaign? Did they run on this mandate? I don't remember any political party running on taking the country into the WTO. The WTO is a surrendering of our own sovereignty. I say, if they are so confident that this is so good and the Bahamian people want it, then put it to the Bahamian people. Let us decide. Because once we join, there's no turning back.
It is imperative that the government puts to the people a referendum on this issue. We say that because we believe that this country is a democracy and the majority will rule. If the majority votes that that's what they want, then that's what we'll have to go along with. But right now, this is not their mandate. They have no mandate to do this.
Again, Bahamians Against WTO will march on January 10th. No word on where the march will begin. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.